Ready to get your grey matter working? It's time for the 10 best puzzle games you can play in 2019. We love puzzle games, experiences to test our wits rather than just our reaction times that make us feel good about having a brain. Consider this list a trip to the gym for what's between your ears. A collection of the very best new puzzle games to trial your logic skills or even to challenge your brain to think about the zombified end of the world at the same time as working out which puzzle pieces need to stay in your inventory. We've already got a list of the very best puzzle games to play on PC, but the games here are the very latest in mind-bending challenges, and a couple of them are even better with a friend. So from time-twisting journeys through childhood to uncovering the history of a mysterious ship, here are the 10 best brain testers to play on PC in 2019. Heaven's Vault is a puzzle game in exactly the same way that archaeology itself is a puzzle. As Alaya Elasra, you explore a region of space called Nebula, with your robot chum 6 piecing together a historical tale that spans thousands of years. And somewhat unusually for a video game featuring an archaeologist, it's actually more about studying history than stealing treasure. Language is at the centre of Heaven's Vault. Everything is given meaning by the words you translate, and there's something uniquely satisfying about piecing together a difficult sentence that's been troubling you for hours. The sheer scale of the game is impressive too. But Heaven's Vault is more than just a sequence of language puzzles. It's a proper adventure, with a compelling lead, a beautiful Middle Eastern-inspired world, and a story that will give you a reason to spend your evenings translating space glyphs. Baba Is You is part puzzle game, part coding tutorial, and part gruelling self-flagellation exercise. I mean that in a nice way. This is a game all about working out what the rules are so that you can solve a puzzle by, well, breaking them. It challenges you to change the state of objects on screen, manipulating them so that you get what you want. These are presented as blocks, which you shove around until they spell the solution you need. And if I've made that sound simple, it really isn't. It'll feel like a breeze when you work out the game's systems, but don't feel too smug. By around level 20, things start to get properly tricky, which would be fine, except there are 200 of these savagely testing logic puzzles. You'll despise this game because it will make you feel like an idiot, and you'll love this game because it will make you feel like an actual genius. Baba is hard. Baba is brilliant. Baba is you. Some puzzlers like to drip feed you new ideas, constantly building upon your previous knowledge and stroking your fragile ego until you feel truly godlike. Others, they just don't. Like Baba Is You, I Hate This Game doesn't want you to start a level feeling like an evil genius. No, it wants you to utter its name at least once while playing, and that's absolutely okay. It might look simple, but don't judge this pixelated head-scratcher on its appearance alone. Each bricky stage is an entirely different puzzle, which might have a clue in its title, but equally might not. All you need to do is get your heroic stickman from one side of the screen to the other, but that's consistently harder than it might first appear. From tricky platforming to innovative ways to use your mouse, nothing is off limits for I Hate This Game. Drawing in platforms? Sure. Mining blocks and rebuilding them where you want to? Absolutely. Oh, go on. Just one more level. Imagine a Venn diagram with city building simulators in one circle and puzzle games in another, and islanders land satisfyingly in that middle overlap like a perfectly positioned field of hops. This is a gloriously minimalist building game that, while still ticking all the boxes associated with the genre, well, check out the link on screen now for the reasons that we can't stop playing City Sims, also works as a perfect puzzler as you work out the most productive places to position farms, mansions and fountains. Every island is a potential points fest, complete with a satisfying gauge that fills up as you unlock and build bigger towns and cities. Placement is key, as points are deducted for proximity to similar building types, so you'll find yourself spinning islands around to find the perfect position for your new shaman hut or city centre. Even watching your islands grow here is ludicrously compelling. Just don't blame me when you realise you've lost 6 hours to countless perfect islands. The Return of Allbritton from Papers, Please creator Lucas Pope is as much a detective game as it is a puzzle game. But when you think about it, they're pretty much the same thing. In Allbritton, instead of solving math problems or ordering blocks, you're working out how everyone on the titular ship died. It's a bleak setup then, but a fascinating one. By stepping back into a precise moment, you work out who was where and what it was that killed them. You've got a limited set of tools at your disposal, some grainy photos, a ship's manifest, the ability to bend time at your will, and all of these things coalesce into a challenging, unique experience. The Return of Allbritton forces you to cross-reference, make bold assumptions, and think ahead. And you'll never be sure you've got it quite right until the whole case is wrapped up. Think of it like Guess Who, but with more spearings. And here's another one that you can see Matt and I work our way through. Darrow, The Art of Cooperation, might look like a minimalist puzzler, but it requires a maximum amount of brain power. It's definitely best played as intended, with two people instead of splitting your brain down the middle, but regardless of how you get involved, Darrow is a beautifully challenging experience. Like the very best mind-bending games, the concept of Darrow is simple. Each triangle needs to make it to a certain point on screen, but a series of beams that can only be stopped by the other player mean that communication is essential. It might not look anything like the chaotic cooking sim, but your couch co-op session will quickly turn into overcooked volumes of desperate shouting as someone heads off in entirely the wrong direction again. Learn that art of cooperation though, and you'll quickly find that the combination of the soothing visuals and a brilliant soundtrack make Darrow an utterly absorbing experience. Okay, it's a bit of a curveball, and it's not exactly the type of relaxing puzzler we'd all like to settle down to on a Sunday night, but Resident Evil 2 is absolutely packed to the gory gunnels with puzzles. It just so happens that the items that you'll need for each one are scattered across Raccoon City and being protected by hideous monsters that would like nothing more than to rip the flesh from your bones. Hey, it adds risk, right? Whether you're working out how to let Ada out of a fiery incinerator before being flambéed, or obsessing over statues, Resi 2 is constantly testing your brain as well as trying to feast on it. We definitely don't recommend this when you're trying to relax or put your mind in a special puzzle space, but it seemed unfair to leave out Leon and Claire just because they have to fight the undead as well as solve intricate mental challenges. Don't worry guys, we've got your back. Supraland is one of those titles that's going to appear on a lot of lists. Firstly, because it's really good, and secondly, because it contains elements of so many different genres. It's a puzzle game, an adventure game, and a Metroidvania. Many elements of progression in this first-person indie are there to test your cognitive abilities, as you solve physics conundrums in order to reach barrels that you can exchange for new abilities. The block-spawning brain teasers immediately recall Portal, but the influence of Zelda and Metroid are also clear. And best of all, it's a game that trusts that you, a functioning human being who's played games before, can solve its puzzles in inventive, emergent ways. All of this would be impressive enough if this engaging 20+ hour adventure also wasn't made by one person. But guess what? It is. How TechTalk, A Tale for Two works is a puzzle in itself. No need for an internet connection, cross-platform play, two stories intertwining together on two different screens. How does it work? Well, quite simply, you and your chosen partner aren't connected in any digital way, only in the real world as two people experiencing the stories of player 1 and player 2 respectively. TechTalk requires constant communication. You and your fellow puzzler saying exactly what you see to find solutions amidst creepy wells, rainy bus stops, and mysterious clock shops. While this is of course a digital experience, TechTalk feels much more real and tangible than anything else on this list. You aren't just taking notes on spare bits of paper around you, but constantly reading aloud, bringing the game into the real world like two magical storytellers. You'll have to find out if there's a happily ever after, or not. And finally, last but definitely not least, is the beautiful time hopping the gardens between. It sounds a little existential, but bear with me here. Instead of controlling best friends, arena or friend on screen, you're entrusted with steering time itself. And yes, that gets just as tricksy as it sounds. Each perfect miniature island of childhood memories can be manipulated to let the pair progress. Arena holds a magical lantern that must be lit in order to cross bridges, travel through portals, and complete each level. But of course, it's never just as simple as pushing time forward to charge the light device. As Vrent passes items, he can open and close power-sucking plants and even let time control individual objects. With some truly inventive puzzling, this means toppling blocks, rewinding VHS tapes, and even playing old-school video games. And yes, if this all sounds like it might be geared to get you in the feels, it very much is. These are islands of days gone, making each journey a bittersweet dive into the past. Sob, why did we put this at the end? And that's it, you solved the best puzzle games to play in 2019. To celebrate your achievement, let us know your favourites in the comments below, drop us a like if you enjoyed this feature, and subscribe to Logitech G for more lists just like this one. If you do already subscribe, ring that notification bell to get a useful hint every time a new video drops. Is that enough puzzle analogies? Whew.